Hello, this is the first of many personal video blogs, and we're at the World Ashoka Youth Venture headquarters. Say hello. Hello. And we're walking through the halls now, and we're heading towards...
Welcome back to Wired. That was Kyle Taylor's very first Dream It, Do It webisode.
It's just one of the ways you can track what Kyle is doing in his upcoming tour of 11 countries. To join the conversation, to talk to either of our guests, you give us a buzz, 617-244-3344. What is Ashoka is the word that you mentioned here. What is that?
Ashoka is actually the partner, sort of parent organization. It was started 26 years ago by a man named Bill Drayton, and it's about supporting leading social entrepreneurs. And Ashoka is now in 65 countries and includes people like the recent Nobel Prize winner, Muhammad Yunus from Bangladesh. He's on our global board. And so, I mean, we're really engaging from the top to the bottom. And Bill Drayton has said, you know, we need to start engaging young people, draw them in at a young age, and that's where Youth Venture was born 10 years ago.
You know, Kyle, I was impugning the motives of some of your fellow Ute, as they call it, a couple of minutes ago. We were talking about what motivates young people to volunteer, and you say there's some survey?
Yeah, Youth Service America actually did a survey of young people, and they found that 55% of youth were actually doing community service, and only 5% said it was because of a school requirement, and they completed over 2.5 billion hours of service last year.
And so the whole idea is you get kids involved early, and they feel like they make a difference, and they grow into their adult lives, and they continue it, and they...
Yeah, and they may not make it a career, it may not be what they do with their life, but it becomes a part of their daily values. So, you know, you go to work, you watch a movie, you listen to music, and you create change. It's part of your life. And you look at a problem, and rather than say, oh, that's a shame, somebody should do something, you say, I can do something.
How long has your project been? 5 years?
5 years.
Are you seeing that the people from the first round, the 5 year ago round, are they staying with, I know it's not volunteerism, but community engagement, social change, that sort of thing? Or is it a one-shot deal?
No, absolutely it continues. And in fact, what happens is the ability to recognize that there is a problem is in the forefront of their mind. And for an example, we had a gentleman in town who was going in for his second heart transplant surgery, and the family was in need of extra finances. And the youth venture teams in our school district pulled together and on their own, just out of the blue, said, hey, we can help out, and they held a fundraiser. Just because.
Isn't that something? How many different teams do you have exactly?
I have 12 right now.
12 different teams.
Yeah.
You didn't have to bend any arms to get kids to put down their video games, or...
No, not at all, not at all. In fact, we have a need for allies, the adult individuals that come and help structure some of the things that the kids do.
And these are all ideas that they have independently come up with?
Absolutely, absolutely.
So you can make a difference?
Oh, completely, absolutely.
All right, let's take a phone call. Ellen in Tewksbury, Massachusetts is on the line. Hi, Ellen. What do you think about Kyle?
Oh, I think he's terrific.
I knew you would.
Terrific idea. And Kathryn, how do you pronounce your name? Is it Kathryn or Kathryn?
It's Kathryn.
Oh, okay. I was looking at the spelling, and my sister's name is Kathryn.
Yeah.
I think that it's fantastic what you're doing, Kyle.
Thank you.
And I have one question. Who are your mentors? Are they from the business world? Are they from the academic world? And how are you financed?
Great questions, Ellen, as always. Thanks.
Yeah, well, actually, the mentors can range from the academic side, being professors, teachers, librarians, to being people in the business sector. I mean, I think we're looking in the future to build some sort of mentorship program with the private sector where we can actually take some skills from their side. I mean, as far as funding goes, Youth Venture is almost funded entirely by private donation and the private sector. The only government funding we receive is in the form of AmeriCorps Vistas, who are young people who are giving a year to community service and working for an organization in the United States. And then this project is actually funded by Youth Venture as well, the World Tour.
You know, speaking of government, starting in Shirley and then going broad, how do elected officials react to this stuff? Everybody's talking about giving back to your community, a whole pile of rhetoric. I don't even know what that means. You're actually doing it. What kind of reaction do you get from local, state, national officials?
We've got a program, that venture team that's running in Leominster, and it's called STAMP, and it has to do with political activity. And they've actually have a representative from Leominster who's their ally, who's been supportive in helping them move
What does it
forward.
mean, political activity? Because it sort of sounds to me like most of this work is apolitical. It's good things for good communities, but it's not partisan. Is that, I assume that's correct, right?
Totally nonpartisan.
And so when you say political work, what do you mean?
They were interested in getting youth more aware of what's happening within politics and how to get themselves
Educating
started.
them, essentially, getting them engaged. Great.
How long does a venture, do you make a commitment when you start this out and you get your money and you say, I'm going to do this for X amount of time? And how long is that?
Well, the program has two components to get funding. One is that it gives back to the community, and the other that it's sustainable. There's no limit on how long it will go. I know that in Shirley we have one of the longest youth venture teams that's been going, consistently for 5 years.
Yeah, mine is 4 years old now, and being completely run by other students that I sort of handed the torch to. So it really just depends on where you are and what you're doing. I know we have some teams in New York that are 8 and 9 years old.
And can you get additional funding if you're into it 5 years and you want to do something a little different or be more in depth with what you're doing?
Yeah, well, if you're adding a new element to what you do, a new program, then you could apply for funding again as like a separate venture. And I assume you could. I don't see why not. But it's all about something new, a new idea, a new problem, with the ultimate goal of sort of creating this world where people feel more empowered for their entire life. And you build a world where everyone is a change maker. You're not engaging, like our founder believes that only 2% of people are really leading in this area of creating change. And just imagine if it was doubled, tripled, or if you increased it tenfold. Imagine what that world would look like, where everyone was looking at problems and finding solutions.
What if somebody was out sitting out, there's a kid out there, what's that? Oh,
Is that you, Kyle?
That's me. That was
What
my
are you
return.
doing?
That was when I was
Is that
in
Canal Street?
That's in Chinatown, in New York.
New York City, yeah.
Mott Street. I spent 8 months in China teaching English to the children of migrant workers.
Of course.
And that was my dramatic return to China in Chinatown.
So someone's sitting out there, there's either a kid who finds this appealing, there's a parent who's ready to strangle their kid. We'll find out where you're in this particular picture. Shirley, Kathryn, what do the people do to get involved? Is that where they could go to? They go to the website? Is there a human being they can talk to? What's the transition? What's the route?
Both. The website is a wonderful place to start.
Will it give you local contacts? For example, if you're in the Shirley area, will we find out you're there and we can call you on the phone?
You should be able to do that, yes.
Yeah, you can. I can talk a little more about it.
Yeah, do it.
You can go online and find out about dreaming it, doing it, and growing it, the 3 elements of the program. But it's also about networking. So you can set up a profile like you would on MySpace or Facebook, where you list your interests, what you're passionate about, and then you can connect to other young people based on those issues, but also to our regional and national offices. And so that's really we're hoping it'll be the hub of this sort of action and change and movement.
Where were you in that other photograph? The Himalayas or something? Where were you?
I was cruising down the Yangtze River, touring the 3 gorges in China, and that's actually my host mom from when I lived and studied in Brussels, Belgium.
It's unbelievable. Our number is 617-244-3344. Kyle and Kathryn will stay with us. Plus, we just may be joined by a young venturer, a younger venturer.
We're trying to convince her.
We're trying to convince her. That's
We're
right.
going to take a check of the headlines also coming up. Don't go away.